Hey my friends, we are at the premiere of Alex in Venice, and we just talked to Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and we asked her all about the movie plus her new show called The Return. Check it out. Okay my friends, we are with Mary, the star of the film, and you got a pretty fancy poster back there.
Very fancy. I love it.
I want to know, are you okay after these flashes? They were insane in here.
It's a little disorienting, but it's great. It's, the more excitement, the better at these things, so it's good.
Okay, so this film looks very interesting. Tell me a little bit about your character, because I know you kind of get dumped and out on your own.
I do. At the beginning of the film, my husband, who's played by Chris Messina, who also directed the film, leaves me after, 10 years of marriage, and we have a son together, and in my mind, it's really out of the blue. I thought things were going great, and so the film sort of, this situation forces my character to kind of examine her life and examine all the things that she's done wrong and how she can be a better mom and a better person and a better daughter and sister and all these things. And you kind of see her relationships with all these different family members and how it all plays out.
What did you find from being left? What is your character, what would you say is the biggest thing she discovers about herself?
I think it forces her to be a little more self-aware and to reflect a little bit more about herself, and she realizes that there were things that she could have done differently, and she was a little uptight and a little, she wasn't really noticing the world around her because she was so wrapped up in her own life and what she thought was important. So even though it sucks that he just sort of up and leaves her, and maybe a dickish move a little bit, but just a little, but in the end, it does kind of force her to kind of learn a lot about herself that she needed to figure out.
Well, did you learn a lot from Chris? How was it working with him? Because he directed the film as well.
It was amazing. He created such a collaborative environment, which I was just so excited to be a part of. And he really made me feel like I was part of the team, and I could have ideas, and we could talk, and it would be open. And I never felt like I was being judged at all, I always just felt like he was somebody that I could be really safe with and just kind of play around with, and that's the environment that I always prefer to be a part of, if I can, so.
Who was the prankster on set? Anybody making jokes?
Oh, Dawn and Katie together were bad news. I mean, by themselves, it was Katie especially, she has a pretty dirty sense of humor, and then when her and Dawn would be in a scene together, I would just be I would bury my head, because I'd be you're playing father and daughter, we have to stop with the sexual innuendo jokes flying around.
I want to know, did you take anything personally out of filming this film?
Take anything personally?
Did you learn anything or grow in a personal realm from this film?
Absolutely. I mean, that's always my hope in anything that I do, that I can walk away from it and having grown in some way, either as a person, as an actor. And I feel like this film, I grew in, both ways. I was really challenged as an actor, but also it forced me to kind of think about my own life and how I relate to this character, and ways that I might not be really seeing the people in my life for who they are, because we all kind of get wrapped up in ourselves and what we think is important. So it certainly made me think about all that stuff.
I'll let you go after this, but I also want to talk about your hit show that just came out. So what can we expect that's coming up on that?
Man, it's one of those shows where every episode it just gets crazier and crazier and more dramatic and more shocking. And so my character in particular goes down kind of a dark spiral. Right now she's on a sort of romantic journey and things are, seeming a bit happier, but with every episode it gets a little darker and a little more complicated for her.
If people haven't yet seen the show, what would you tell them? Just a quick one-liner to tune in.
I would say it's not really like anything else on TV right now. It's based on a French TV show, but it kind of is going in its own direction, and it's very moody, very spooky, but also very emotional, and you get really invested in the characters.
Thanks so much. Have a great night.